Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour. Russian missiles pound power plants in central and western Ukraine. 4 thermal power facilities hit in strikes. Zelensky says gas transit supplying EU targeted. Gaza aid from Cyprus resumes after pause following aid worker killings. Humanitarian ship carrying 400 tons of food aid leaves for Gaza. And the political battleground in India heats up, with leaders from various parties crisscrossing the nation to sway voters. And in tennis, Rafael Nadal begins his clay court farewell with straight set win over Alex de Minaur in the second round of Madrid Open 2024. Russia launched a barrage of missiles against Ukraine overnight, targeting country's energy infrastructure. The airstrike, carried out with long-range missiles, including cruise missiles, was the 4th large-scale aerial assault targeting the power system since March 22nd. Ukraine's Air Force said that Russia had launched 34 missiles against Ukraine overnight, of which 21 had been shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. Ukraine's state-run oil and gas firm Naftgaz said Russia had attacked its facilities, but that no one was hurt and supplies to Ukrainian consumers and clients were unaffected. Ukraine has lost 80% of its thermal power generation and 35% of its hydroelectric capacity during Russian attacks. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has denounced the Russian attack on his country's energy infrastructure. In his nightly video address, Zelensky emphasized that the assault specifically targeted gas facilities crucial for supplying the European Union. He highlighted the significance of these gas facilities for maintaining the uninterrupted supply of gas to the European Union.
We saw another massive missile strike today, 34 Russian rockets of various types. The main target was the energy sector, various facilities in the industry, both electricity and gas transit facilities in particular, those gas facilities that are crucial to ensuring safe delivery to the European Union. We managed to shoot down some of the missiles today, and I'm grateful to each of our soldiers who were really accurate and responded in time.
Zelensky reiterated his plea for defensive weapon systems, particularly Patriot missile systems, to bolster Ukraine's defense capabilities.
It's important that all the new agreements with partners that are already in place to strengthen our air defense, every initiative by friends of Ukraine to help, in particular with the search and provision of Patriots, to make sure it all takes effect as soon as possible. Ukraine needs 7 systems, and this is the minimum.
Russian Defense Ministry on Sunday said that its air defense systems destroyed 17 drones launched by Ukraine. And as per the ministry's statement, 9 of the drones were destroyed over the territory of the Bryansk region, 3 over the Kursk region, 2 over the Belgorod region, and 3 over the Kaluga region. Now, a ceremony was held in northern Ukraine on Friday to remember those who died in the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear accident. The Chernobyl explosion is considered the worst nuclear accident in history in terms of the scale of contamination and the number of victims. The detonation in the reactor zones caused radioactive contamination that directly contaminated a radius of tens of kilometers, and wind and water movement carried nuclear contamination further afield. On the occasion, Chairman of the Environmental Policy Committee of Ukraine's Supreme Council praised those who put out the fire at the Chernobyl plant, saying the move saved the world from a radiation disaster. On the 38th anniversary of the nuclear disaster, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned of the risks surrounding the Zaporizhzhia nuclear facility, which has been at the center of nuclear safety crisis since Russia attacked on Ukraine. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was attacked earlier this month for 3 days in a row. Russia says the attacks were carried out by Ukrainian forces using drones. But Ukraine says Russia staged a false flag operation in order to make it seem as if Ukraine was responsible. Now, 8 shipments to Gaza from Cyprus resumed late on Friday. The ship was carrying food after a pause following Israel's killing of 7 aid workers. The World Central Kitchen NGO had paused aid to review its activity in the territory after early April attack, halting direct shipments into Gaza from Cyprus. The US has started construction of a floating jetty on Gaza's Mediterranean coast that will enable aid deliveries pre-screened in Cyprus with Israeli oversight. Once that aid reaches Gaza, it will still need to pass through Israeli checkpoints on land. Now, dignitaries from Arab nations gathered in Riyadh on Saturday to discuss the situation in Gaza ahead of a World Economic Forum summit in the Saudi Arabian city, Riyadh, starting today. Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, met with a number of representatives. The leaders gathered ahead of the summit to talk about the recent developments in Gaza, with thoughts focused on working towards a ceasefire. Now, Israel's foreign minister said a planned incursion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah could be suspended if a deal is reached to ensure the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. And in an interview, the minister said that the release of the hostages is the top priority. He also hinted that if there's a deal, the operations in Rafah might be suspended. Earlier, Hamas said it had received Israel's official response to its latest ceasefire proposal and would study it before submitting its response.
If there will be a deal, we will halt the operation. We will do whatever is required to bring the hostages back.
Now, Hamas published a video on Saturday showing 2 Israeli hostages who have been held in the Gaza since October 7 attack on southern Israel. The 2 men, identified as Keith Segel and Omri Miran, speak individually in front of an empty background. They sent their love to their families and asked to be released. Both were captured when Hamas launched its deadly attack on 7th of October. The video is similarly filmed to previous hostage videos made public by the Islamist group, which Israel has condemned as psychological terrorism. Now, the new video comes as Hamas said it was studying Israel's latest proposal for a truce. Media reports said mediator Egypt had sent a delegation to Israel to give fresh impetus to stalled negotiations. And thousands of people gathered in Tel Aviv on Saturday, urging the Israeli government to reach a ceasefire deal and bring the remaining hostages home. Earlier on Saturday, Hamas released a new video that appeared to show 2 Israeli hostages. Around 250 Israelis and foreigners were taken hostage on October 7. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be next visiting Saudi Arabia on Monday and Tuesday. Blinken will be meeting with regional partners and discuss efforts to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of Israeli hostages. Blinken will take effort to get humanitarian assistance being delivered to Gaza increase and underscore the importance of ensuring that increase is sustained. Blinken will also emphasize the importance of preventing the conflict from spreading and discuss ongoing efforts to achieve lasting peace and security in the region. Though Blinken is not scheduled to visit Israel on his trip, during his 2-day visit, Blinken will participate in a ministerial meeting of the Gulf Cooperation Council, working to advance security coordination in the region. Blinken will also attend the World Economic Forum's special meeting on global collaboration, growth and energy for development. The UN Security Council on Saturday expressed deep concern over Sudan crisis. The Security Council, in a statement, expressed their deep concern over an imminent offensive by the Rapid Support Forces and their allied militias against the city of Al-Fasher. The UNSC called on the Sudanese armed forces and Rapid Support Forces to end the buildup of military forces and to take steps to de-escalate the situation. Well, war erupted in Sudan 1 year ago between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary RSF, creating the world's largest displacement crisis. Al-Fashir is the last major city in the vast western and this region of the control of RSF. The RSF and its allies swept through 4 other Darfur state capitals last year and were blamed for a campaign of ethnically driven killings against non-Arab groups and other abuses in West Darfur. And news now from Chile, where 3 police officers have been killed in an ambush, prompting President Gabriel Boric to declare 3 days of national mourning. The officers were patrolling when an armed group opened fire and set the van alight. The ambush took place in a conflict zone that has suffered from incendiary attacks against farmers, Mapuche residents and officers in recent years. Haiti's Transition Council will vote for the country's next president on Tuesday as part of efforts to bring the Caribbean country under control amid rampant gang violence. The Transition Council took part in a ceremony on Thursday, formalizing the resignation of former Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The transitional government's mandate runs until February 2026, by when there are slated to be elections and cannot be renewed. The Council's installation is seen as a key step toward the deployment of a multinational security mission, Henry requested in 2022, and the United Nations approved more than 6 months ago. Now, police in Benin fired tear gas to break up a protest over the cost of living called by trade unions. Armed police blocked access to the Labour Council in the commercial capital. Some protesters also carried signs and wore union T-shirts. Several union leaders were arrested alongside 16 other demonstrators, and the minimum wage in Benin is $85 a month. But rising fuel and food prices are making a livelihood difficult. The International Monetary Fund said that the incomes in sub-Saharan Africa are falling further behind the rest of the world amid a tepid economic recovery. The US President Joe Biden delivered an election year roast on Saturday night as the annual White House Correspondents Association dinner. The White House Correspondents Association was founded in 1914 and has held a dinner nearly every year since 1921 to celebrate the reporters who cover the presidency and raise money for scholarships. This year, the event was hosted by Saturday Night Live cast member Colin Jost. Biden used the annual black tie event to chid his Republican rival Donald Trump for immaturity, poke fun at his own advanced age, and take on the Washington press course.
Of course, the 2024 election is in full swing. And yes, age is an issue. I'm a grown man running against a 6-year-old. Speaking of history, did you hear what Donald just said about the major Civil War battle? Quote, Gettysburg, wow. Trump's speech was so embarrassing, the statue of Robert E. Lee surrendered again. Move past the horse race numbers and the gotcha moments and the distractions, the sideshows that have come to dominate and sensationalize our politics, and focus on what's actually at stake.
And still to come on DD Indian News Hour, we tell you an update on weather conditions prevailing in many countries across the globe. Water pollution is becoming an increasingly widespread problem in England. How? We will tell you. Stay tuned. All right, and gold pocket watch worn by the wealthiest passenger on Titanic sold out. Stay tuned for more details.
Team Pole Pulse has reached Guwahati. Welcome to the gateway to northeast of India. Guwahati is one of the fastest growing and one of the largest cities port riverine city on the southernmost banks of mighty Brahmaputra River.
ভোট দিব লাগে কি নাগৰিকৰ কাৰণে নাগৰিকত্ব পাৱাৰ কাৰণে দিব লাগে
एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन का कुछ काम हो स्किल डेवलपमेंट हो वो सब मुद्दे देख के ही हम लोग वोट करते हैं
अभी जब जो डेवलप दिखा रहा है तो हमको तो उसी को सुनोगे
In Assam and Northeast, the people are not very much interested in the political issues.
The youth bulge of Northeast is concerned, or youth electorate of Northeast is concerned.
It's our right to vote and we need to vote for a change.
डेवलपमेंट के लिए तो वोट देना जरूरी है सबको.
असम बदल गया है असम बदल रहा है
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. And weather update from across the globe now, starting from Bangladesh, where Bangladesh Meteorological Department said that respite from the prevailing heat wave condition across Bangladesh is unlikely, and it has turned very severe in some parts of the country. The department predicted that the ongoing severe to very severe and mild to moderate heat wave sweeping over various parts of Bangladesh is likely to continue. So far, at least 12 people have died of suspected heat stroke in the last few days. Guidelines were also issued on Friday with respect to extreme heat conditions. Meanwhile, the Bangladesh government has announced the reopening of primary school starting this Sunday. Bangladesh's highest temperature was recorded at 42.7 degrees Celsius. All right, and DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us from Dhaka on this. Naval Sangh, very good morning to you. Now, what's the root cause of this heat wave which has forced school closures, disrupted agriculture perhaps, and heightened at the risk of heat stroke and other health complications as well, although we are getting the news that school may be reopening from Sunday?
Yes, since last couple of days, Bangladesh is going through heat wave condition, and many divisions of Bangladesh like Rajshahi, Rangpur, and Khulna division mainly are those who are very near to Indian border with West Bengal are facing severe to very severe heat wave condition, and particularly in Khulna division, Jeshore witnessed 42.6 degree temperature in 2 days back, and many hospitals are full, and the influx of people.
Naval Sangh, any updates on what is the root cause of this heat wave?
What is the? Pardon?
What is the root cause of this heat wave?
Root cause environmental change in environmental condition, and it is not normal or regular things for Bangladesh, because this heat wave is longest in last 76, the latest data. 26 years, this kind of prolonged heat wave Bangladesh has not witnessed. And the second thing, yesterday, Met Department of Bangladesh predicted that the month of May, the highest temperature of this season will be recorded in month of May.
All right.
And it may go around 44, 45 degrees Celsius.
Okay,
yes.
What is the current situation there? And how are people coping up with this situation?
Current situation is now today educational institute are open, but the parents are worried because still Sunday morning there were a heat wave warning and message from the Met Department that it will continue further. So parents are worried. Government is taking the steps to provide healthcare facilities those who are affected by the sunstroke and heat wave condition. But the still people are facing lots of problems because this area is not used to experience such kind of situation. Particularly the Bangladesh and the it is green, having a very good green cover in Bangladesh. Though there is a heat wave is of such a level, it's a peculiar thing for the Bangladesh.
Okay, you were just mentioning about how the government is coping up with the situation, Naval Sangh. I want to ask you that what are the authorities doing to ease the situation? And just in case if this heat wave persists, Naval Sangh, for little more, is the government ready to deal with it?
Yes, government is taking steps, but they can issue advisory and they can coordinate with the educational institute, and they can issue guidelines for the school and colleges. Apart from that, there is a list in hands of government to do in this kind of situation. They can provide medical facility. They can enhance the medical facility which can help people or those who are a patient. And second thing, the transportation facilities or the load shedding, they are managing that at least power supply remain intact, and that can provide respite to the people. That the government is doing. Yeah.
All right. As far as the weather is concerned, situation is not good in Bangladesh at all. But our correspondent Naval Singh Parmar has just said that authorities are doing whatever they could to actually deal with the situation. With this, thank you so much, Naval Singh, for joining in and for your analysis. Well, in weather news, millions in the Midwest of the United States under storm watches as Nebraska and Iowa reel from devastating tornadoes. Large tornado tore through parts of the United States, with local telling that nearly half of the homes in the town were destroyed. The authorities have put tornado alert for the coming days. County's officials confirmed 4 were injured amid the havoc and were immediately admitted to the hospital. All right, and heavy rains across Kenya have killed at least 76 people and displaced thousands. Residents of the region were still coming to terms after a truck loaded of people was swept away by raging floodwaters of Kwamuzi River. So far, 11 survivors were pulled out from the river, while 7 bodies have been recovered downstream. Search for more bodies continues, calling the situation grim, the weather authorities of Kenya warned of more heavy rains for the coming week and issued flood alerts. Also in China, at least 5 people were killed and 33 others injured in a strong tornado that hit Guangzhou, the capital city of South China's Guangdong province, on Saturday. The authorities said over 140 factory buildings were damaged, with no collapse of residential houses. Guangzhou, a city of 19 million people in southern China, has been witnessing tornadoes at level 3 intensity. The tornado was followed by multiple days of heavy rains lashing southern China, deadly floods and threatening to upend the lives of millions as rescuers rushed to evacuate residents trapped by rising waters. Well, the highest temperature in Brazil occurred in December last year instead of the unusual summer months of January or February, which climate experts say is due to the weakening of El Nino in South America from last year. El Nino phenomenon has doubled the rainfall in southern Brazil, and in some parts temperatures have risen sharply while rainfall has decreased significantly compared to previous years. According to experts' forecast from May to July this year, the El Nino phenomenon is expected to gradually weaken. Whereas in the second half of this year, a La Nina phenomenon is very likely to occur, causing below average sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern tropical waters of the Pacific Ocean. Now, water pollution is becoming an increasingly widespread problem in England. New data shows sewage spills into rivers and seas more than doubled last year. Campaigners say water companies are failing to invest in infrastructure to prevent this, but the industry says the soaring costs of upgrades cannot be shouldered by businesses alone. Julia Chapman visited one river in London where sewage is a particular problem. Have a look.
Britain's tranquil waterways belie a dirty secret. With increasing regularity, mostly in bad weather, sewage is spilled into rivers and seas.
So this is working as it was designed. It's not a malfunction. It's meant to overflow when it can't cope with the amount of rain. It's just that we've sort of sealed so much London with concrete and building on it, and we've not made enough areas to offset that and allow the rain to soak in. So it's negligence, I suppose. The government, the regulators should have had the eye on this, should have known that it's becoming more of a problem and started those efforts to address that much sooner.
Most of Britain's sewage system was built during the Victorian era. It can be overwhelmed by large volumes of rainwater. Water companies are allowed to discharge sewage into waterways during periods of heavy rainfall. But 2023 saw a record number of sewage overflows. This river alone was on the receiving end of 87 sewage spills last year. Those incidents only started to be monitored in 2019. The government says the way storm overflows are managed is unacceptable. It has set targets that require sewage discharges to be reduced, with fines for water companies that don't comply.
All I can say is that our ambitious storm overflow reduction plan is backed by £60 billion of capital investment. We now monitor every single storm overflow across England and have legislated to introduce unlimited penalties on water companies that breach their obligations. The independent regulator and the Environment Agency have the powers they need to hold water companies wherever they are to account.
A so-called super sewer was completed this year in London to help deal with capacity. But critics say it's an expensive, imperfect solution and will only buy time rather than solve the problem. They argue the best approach is to create more green spaces to absorb rainwater before it mixes with sewage.
We could have flourishing kind of oases of nature. Instead, we've got rivers that are just an extension of the sewage system.
The UK's water industry body has announced a major investment programme to upgrade the sewage system. But it will come at a high cost, one that will likely be borne by consumers. Julia Chapman in London, reporting for DD India.
Now from UK, let's shift our focus to Indonesia, where an earthquake of magnitude 6.2 on the Richter scale struck the Indonesian capital Jakarta on Saturday. The quake was originated 102 kilometers south of Banjar at a depth of 65 kilometers, but no reports of casualties or tsunami alert warning reported yet. Sudden earthquake tremors are not uncommon in Indonesia, as it sits on a vulnerable quake-active zone called the Pacific Ring of Fire. And let's take a look at other stories making news across the globe. As spring breathes life into the nature, golden snub-nosed monkey families are venturing out with their 30 fluffy newborns at Zhoushan National Nature Reserve in northwest China's Shaanxi province. Spring offers abundant food and is ideal for the healthy growth of new babies. Consequently, the golden snub-nosed monkey families migrate to lower altitude areas to forage. Rare violin bag and a gold pocket watch recovered from Titanic goes on auction in England. The gold pocket watch, which belonged to an American financier, John Jacob Astor, who was one of the world's richest men at the time, gets sold for £9,000. And Hollywood actors arrive at the red carpet of American Film Institute's 49th Lifetime Achievement Award. The institute paid a special honor to Australian actor Nicole Kidman. Nicole is one of the youngest ever recipients to achieve AFI award. The actress began her journey with her performances in thriller Dead Calm and miniseries Bangkok Hilton before breaking into Hollywood. And still to come on DD India News Hour. We will show you how political parties are campaigning ahead of May 7 polls in India. While a drone show and cultural event was organized to create awareness amongst voters in India. Sounds interesting, right? We'll get you the details. Stay tuned. India's weather department issues a red alert for severe heat wave conditions in Gangetic, West Bengal and Odisha.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. A quick recap of the headlines. Russian missiles pound power plants in central and western Ukraine. 4 thermal power facilities hit and strikes. Zelensky says gas transit supplying EU targeted. Gaza aid from Cyprus resumes after pause following aid worker killings. Humanitarian ship carrying 400 tons of food aid leaves for Gaza. And the political battleground in India heats up with leaders from various parties crisscrossing the nation to sway voters. Also in tennis, Nadal begins his clay court farewell with straight set win over Alex de Minaur in the second round of Madrid Open 2024. First up, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Well, the third phase of the India's general elections on May 7th will witness 95 constituencies across the country going to the polls. This figure includes the Betul constituency in Madhya Pradesh, where the voting process, initially planned for April 26, was adjourned due to death of BSP candidate. The third phase of the elections will witness 12 states and union territories participating in the democratic process. A total of 1,351 candidates contesting the elections in phase third. This figure excludes the sole BJP candidate in Surat, who was elected unopposed. And campaigning for the third phase of Lok Sabha elections is gaining momentum as the poll fever goes high in India. Political parties getting up to woo voters. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting Karnataka to address a public rally in Belagavi on Sunday. Later in the day, PM Modi will address rallies in Uttara Kannada district, Devanagari city and Bellary. Non-resident Indians from countries abroad are organizing a car rally from Ahmedabad to Surat in support of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The rally has been organized by the Foreign Affairs Department of BJP. Indian Home Minister Amit Shah will attend public meetings in Etawah, Mainpuri, Kasganj and Kanpur city today. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will visit Gujarat to address a press conference on Sunday. Later in the day, he will address public meetings in central Gujarat, Khambhat and Bhavnagar. BJP President JP Nadda will visit Odisha for election campaigning. He will address a public meeting at Behrampur of Ganjam district and later will hold a meeting with party workers at Nabarangpur. Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will address a public meeting in Etah. Leaders of opposition parties are holding rallies to garner support in favor of their party candidates. India's opposition leader Rahul Gandhi will visit Odisha and Daman and Diu to campaign for party candidates and address rallies. The Chief Minister of Haryana, Nayab Singh Saini, is likely to address a public meeting in Panchkula of Ambala Lok Sabha constituency today. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann will address a public meeting in Punjab's Barnala on Sunday. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister and YSRCP President Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy will start his election campaign from today. All right, and the election fervor is certainly gripping the country. For more on this, Jessica Taneja joins us from North Goa, South Goa, I beg your pardon. Jessica, you are there in South Goa right now. Tell us the current political scenario there and what remains the pressing issue for the people of North Goa, as only 2 seats are up for grabs there.
That's correct. 2 seats up for grabs, one from South Goa and the other from North Goa. And it is a pretty heated political battle here. You'd recall, Siddharth, the Prime Minister was here yesterday. In fact, his second meeting in 3 months in Goa. There was another meeting in South Goa on the 26th of April and yesterday at Bits Pilani, where he did talk about voters' issues and how the centre has been able to implement its schemes effectively in the state and how they've been able to resonate with the kind of political capital and in terms of effective governance that could resonate with the state of Goa as well. I have with me a few newspapers of the English dailies here in Goa. The O Heraldo, it also has the front page of that newspaper, in fact, is talking about Prime Minister Modi's visit here and his particularly his speech where he mentions that there was saturation approach in implementation of central schemes and that the government will do a lot more than it has in the past. And if you look at the Navhind Times as well, similar headlines on the front pages where the Prime Minister has promised more effective schemes and implementation and also taking voter concerns at this point. Now, both North Goa and South Goa have different candidates at this point, but the seat of contention is South Goa. In the last election in 2019, the BJP did not win the South Goa seat. Hence, you see a lot of emphasis on the seat of South Goa. And the BJP has put its weight behind Pallavi Dempo. Now, Pallavi Dempo is a political novice, but at the same time, a very thoughtful candidate, approach to a very thoughtful candidate for the seat of South Goa. Because in the south, there is a heavy sort of issues that are pressing on more women leadership. So it does sort of project putting a woman on the front line with that aspect certainly helps the BJP's image in South Goa, especially when it wants to get its vote share up, which it did lose the last time about roughly 2%, and which of course got distributed between the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. So that, how will that effectively play out is also important. And the fishermen community, the Prime Minister yesterday also promised that there will be more that will be done for the fishermen folk here. He recalled that there was a separate department for fisheries that was set up under his leadership, with also Pramod Sawant being the Chief Minister of Goa. On the other hand, the Congress at this point, if you see, especially in South Goa, you have Veriardo Fernandes. He is a prominent candidate of the opposition. He has been putting out all sorts of issues of the voters' concerns. There are environmental issues that the voters want to talk about. There are mining issues that voters have taken up, land right issues as well. And the Congress has put its weight behind Veriardo, claiming the fact and also indulging in political exchanges to the effect that the constitution was forced on Goa, to which the Prime Minister also retorted yesterday, day before, pardon me, in his speeches. So of course the local issues have been picked up at this point, but there is a lot more focus on South Goa than the North. But with that said, North is equally important as
so with what you are saying, Jessica, with what you are saying,
bitter competition on the 7th
we can make an assessment that the political landscape is changing, especially in South Goa. Now it's hot there in Goa as far as the temperature is concerned. Now, Jessica, how is the campaigning picking up there? What do you see?
Well, so far there are many rallies lined up just 15 kilometers ahead from us, and we'll be going and speaking to the campaigners and try and get a sense of as to what exactly are the voters looking for and how are they going to be effectively implementing those schemes and, you know, addressing those voter concerns. We had a brief chance yesterday to interact with few voters, and the main concerns on top of their mind is, of course, the cost of living has gone up, there's high inflation, there's joblessness as well, and the youth primarily is looking for more jobs and expecting the government to provide some employment generation to that effect, so that there is more done to Goa than just the commercialization, which has seen a decent success. Goa has seen an increase in in FDI as well in the recent past. It has seen a lot of tourists come around. It's seen a new airport. It's seen infrastructure development. If you come to Goa, you would probably be able to see new roads. Yet the locals demand that there has to be more infrastructure development work to be done, especially in terms of connecting Goa and ensuring that the tourists are rather more educated about the environment in Goa. And that is one of the concerns that the locals have here that does resonate with the poll issues. And let's not forget, there are local parties as well trying to make a mark in this election, and we could see as to how that pans out. But so far the voter concerns remain all of these.
We'll keep taking updates from you, Jessica, but for now we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your analysis. Well, DD India's Aditya Srivastava is also joining us from Bhopal. Aditya, state of Madhya Pradesh will go to polls on May 7 in the third phase. How many seats are for grabs, and how's the political landscape looking like? And how about the campaigning?
Yes, Siddharth, there are 9 seats where polling will be held on third phase. 4 from Gwalior Chambal region, and the rest of are in the middle of Madhya Pradesh. Bhind, Morena, Gwalior, Guna, these are seats from the Gwalior Chambal region. Vidisha, Bhopal, Baitul, Sagar, these seats are from Bundelkhand or middle of the Madhya Pradesh.
Okay, for our viewers, Aditya, for our viewers, can you just tell us, earlier there were 8 seats and now they have become 9. What is the main reason behind it?
See, in the Baitul seat, polling was held on in the Baitul in the first phase, but one candidate, BSP candidate, was no more at that time. So the polling will extend around another third phase. So that's why in the third phase there are seats. The total number of count in the 9. So this is the reason of this phase of third phase. But we can talk about if we talk about the campaigning, all political parties are doing put all efforts to reach the people. BJP, not only the top leadership but also a state unit leadership going to people. CM Mohan Yadav also today. CM Mohan Yadav will be in the Rajgarh. Rajgarh is the place where Digvijay Singh, top Congress leader, is contesting an election in Madhya Pradesh. So Shivraj Singh Chauhan, ex-CM Shivraj Singh Chauhan, will also do public rallies in a Gwalior Chambal region like Bhind, Morena, Gwalior. Mayawati will also take public rally today in Morena. If we talk about the Congress, Jeetu Patwari and Arun Yadav, both are taking rallies in especially in Vidisha and Gwalior Chambal region. We can say all political parties are trying to give their efforts, trying to give their voice to the people. But what people think, because the voter are very silent. What voter think, we can the picture will be clear on the 4th of June.
So, Aditya, tell us what people actually wants there. I mean, they are going to cast their ballot on May 7th. What remains the pressing issues there in the region? Why are they going to vote? What remains the pressing issue?
See, if we talk about the Madhya Pradesh, there are a lot of issues raising by the opposition, raising by the the leading party. One is employment. Opposition raise the issue of employment. Opposition raise the issues of development, and the leading party raise the issues of work on the Modi government schemes. So people are very confident about their issues. If we talk about the last two-phase voting, people think that what work did at their places in the last 10 years or before the 10 years or after the freedom. So all political parties reach to the last head of the society. So what will be the issue of the next phases? We can expect that.
All right, we'll keep taking updates from you as well, Aditya. But for now, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining in. All right, breaking news just coming in ahead of parliamentary polls in the capital city, Delhi. Congress chief Arvinder Singh Lavli resigned from his post. Lavli submitted resignation letter to Mallikarjun Kharge, citing the alliance with Aam Aadmi Party as his reason. This is the breaking news that we are getting for you. He was appointed as the chief of Congress Delhi unit last, replacing Anil Chaudhary. Lavli had joined the BJP in 2017. But returned to Congress just months after quitting Congress. This is the breaking news that we are getting for you ahead of parliamentary polls in the capital city, Delhi. Congress chief Arvinder Singh Lavli has resigned from his post. And let's take a look at other election-related stories making news across India. Well, a cycle rally was held in India's Guwahati to create awareness among the voters for India's Lok Sabha elections 2024. The rally was organized as a part of SWEEP, a flagship program of Election Commission of India to promote voter awareness and voter literacy in the country. And a drone show and cultural event organized as part of the systematic voters education and electoral participation activity for the general elections 2024 becomes feast in the eyes of onlookers in Ahmedabad. The initiative marked as a creative approach to spread voter awareness. In the wake of Lok Sabha elections, school children in Thane urged people to vote by making a beautiful rangoli. The district magistrate and collector of Thane, Ashok Shingare, and the commissioner of Thane Municipal Corporation, Saurabh Rai, took part in the program. In Thane, the voting will be held on 20th of May in the 5th phase. Well, India's weather department has issued a red alert for severe heat wave conditions in the Gangetic West Bengal and Odisha. Heat wave conditions in isolated pockets over Bihar, Jharkhand, Rayalaseema, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Konkan, Uttar Pradesh, coastal Andhra Pradesh and Yanam are likely to prevail till the next 4 to 5 days. Weather department further said that hot and humid weather is very likely to prevail over West Assam, Meghalaya and Tripura till tomorrow, while similar conditions are likely to prevail in Kerala, coastal Karnataka, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Yanam and Konkan till the 1st of May. On the other hand, the Weather Office has forecast heavy rainfall over North India during next 4 days. Light to moderate rainfall and snowfall is also likely over Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In tennis, Iga Swiatek and Coco Gauff advanced to the round of 16 in Madrid Open. In IPL, Gujarat will take on Bengaluru in the first match today. Later in the day, Chennai Super Kings will take on Sunrisers Hyderabad. And we'll also show you how the surfing legend Kelly Slater delighted his fans on the opening day of Gold Coast Pro.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Prasar Bharati, and time now for sport. And let's begin with the Madrid Open, where Rafael Nadal reached the third round at the Madrid Open with an impressive straight-set win over Australian Alex de Minaur. And this was a very nice contest between the two players. But the Spaniard won 7-6, 6-3 to take revenge on the opponent who knocked him out of the Barcelona Open 10 days back. Five-time champion Nadal is playing on the Madrid clay for the final time in what he expects to be the last season of his career. He will face Pedro Cachin next after the Argentine beat American 20th seed Francis Tiafoe.
There's still a lot of things I need to adjust to change my perspectives on the situation. First, I need to be convinced that I am responding physically. Ultimately, of course, I have to recover my confidence in my body. Very important for me to be able to compete the whole match with a good level of tennis, and the body held on well for a little over 2 hours. That's important for me. It was a great test, and now let's see how I wake up tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in women's singles, top seed Iga Swiatek and third seeded Coco Gauff advanced to the round of 16 at Madrid Open on Saturday. Coco Gauff shut down Ukrainian number 31 Diana Yastremska 6-4, 6-1 in the second round. Gauff will next face fellow American number 18 seed Madison Keys, who defeated number 15 Lyudmila Samsonova of Russia 6-2, 6-3. Meanwhile, Iga Swiatek continued her title defense with another smooth win, this time a 6-1, 6-1 defeat of number 27 Sorana Cristi of Romania. The win puts Swiatek's season record at 26-4 and brings her streak to 16 wins on clay against opponents ranked outside the WTA's top 20. Well, in Indian Premier League IPL, Gujarat Titans will go head-to-head with Royal Challengers Bengaluru in the 45th match of the season in Ahmedabad today. Bengaluru are coming into the clash after ending what seemed an unending series of defeats at Hyderabad a couple of days ago. Gujarat, on the other hand, is still in the race for a place in the playoffs despite losing the last match to Delhi Capitals. Gujarat and Bengaluru have locked horns 3 times and Gujarat have dominated in 2 matches. The last time these two met, GT won by 6 wickets. Defending champions Chennai Super Kings will take on Sunrisers Hyderabad in the second IPL encounter, which is to take place in Chennai. CSK had a good start to the season under new skipper Ruturaj, but they have been toppled by Lucknow Super Giants twice in the last 2 games. Meanwhile, Hyderabad have twice broken the record of highest IPL total this season, but are coming into the game following a failure of their ultra batting approach against RCB. Kenya's Emmanuel Wanyoni's set a road mile world record at the Road to Records event in Germany's Herzogenaurach. He finished with a time of 3 minutes and 54.5 seconds. The race was Wanyoni's competitive debut in the men's mile category. The 19-year-old broke the previous record of which was set by American Hobbs Kessler in October. Wanyoni specializes in 800 meters. He won silver at last year's World Athletics Championships in Budapest before winning gold at the 2023 Diamond League. All right, and surf legend Kelly Slater put on a show for fans on the first day of the Gold Coast Pro on Saturday as he hit the waves along with other former world champs. Australia's Caius King ended the day with the highest total heat score in men's competition. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Well, for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now.